Acumatica Cloud ERP, changing the vendor in purchase orders. Acumatica now supports the ability to change the vendor in an existing purchase order. By allowing users to change the vendor, you can easily compare item prices provided by different vendors for the same purchased item. You can update vendors on purchase orders linked to a sales order. And you can also correct mistakes on the purchase order when the wrong vendor is selected. Changing the vendor is only allowed if a purchase order is on hold and if the order has no related prepayment bills, AP bills, and purchase receipts. For blanket orders, the vendor cannot be changed if any related purchase orders of the normal type exist. To see how this new functionality works, let's navigate to the purchase orders form. On the screen, you are viewing a purchase order with the go-to vendor selected. Please also note the date of the purchase order, the promise date, and the vendor's price. The vendor field is still editable, but once the PO is taken off hold, the vendor field is disabled. If I change the vendor to Eastcom Electronic Supplies, a few things happen. The unit cost is updated to reflect the vendor's price. This is very useful when setting up purchase orders and comparing vendor prices, or if you made a mistake and selected the wrong vendor initially and need to correct the purchase order. Also note that the date is changed to today's date, and the promise on date has been changed to today's date plus the lead time value for the new vendor. In this case, there is a 2-day lead time for this vendor. Next, I'm going to take the purchase order off of hold and perform a PO receipt. When I navigate back to the PO and place it on hold, I'm no longer able to change the vendor since there are transactions against the purchase order for the original vendor. Next, I will demonstrate what happens when a purchase order is tied to a sales order. In this example, I have a sales order where an item is purchased from a vendor and then resold to a customer. By clicking on the PO link, I can see the purchase order that is linked to the sales order. I can click on this link and I am taken to the purchase order screen to view the purchase order. Since this purchase order is still on hold and no documents exist, I can still change the vendor. Also, as in the previous example, if I change the vendor, a few things happen. The price is updated to reflect the new vendor's price. My date and promised on date are also updated, and I receive a warning that the promised on date is changing. If I save the purchase order and then go back to my sales order, notice that the vendor is automatically updated without me having to go in and manually update it. In summary, by allowing users to change the vendor on purchase orders, users are able to view comparative pricing for an item with multiple vendors. They're able to correct mistakes when the wrong vendor has been selected, and they can automatically view the new vendor on the purchase order when it is linked to a sales order. Thank you for joining me today for this overview demonstration on changing the vendor in purchase orders in Acumatica Cloud ERP. For more information about Acumatica, contact an Acumatica reseller or view documentation on help.acumatica.com.